This video will focus on the ways that women were portrayed in the dominant paradigm of filmmaking, i.e. Hollywood, and the ways that feminist films function as counter-cinema in resisting the problematic narrative of Hollywood films that are informed by patriarchal structures. These feminist films tell their own stories, stories that are absent from the aforementioned dominant paradigm of filmmaking. The study of films is significant because, as indicated by Teresa de Lauretis and Heath, ideological biases are built into the cinematic apparatus. Therefore, films are not objective but present a subjective view of the world. The experience of seeing a film in a theater is likened to dreaming. Since the picture is readily accepted as an accurate representation of what is really out there in the world of the viewer's everyday visual experience, the viewer's point of view is inseparable from the presumed reality of the picture's representation of the world. This suggests that the audience is deeply affected by the films they see, as they provide a view of what the world is and how it should be seen. Therefore, if only the same types of films are made that show women in a certain light, then this will function as a type of indoctrination. The ideas of Sharon Smith are also relevant, as she writes about how women are stereotyped in the majority of films. The role of a woman in a film almost always revolves around her physical attraction as a measure of her worth and the mating games she plays with male characters. Women provide trouble or sexual interludes for the male characters or are not present at all. Even when a woman is the central character, she is generally shown as confused, or helpless and in danger, or passive, or as a purely sexual being. A paradigmatic example of this sort of representation of women in film is the 1942 Academy Award-winning Casablanca, in which the lead female character Elsa is explored only in terms of her sexual desirability and relationships with men. Her future is uncertain and always mediated by the decisions of men. In a crucial scene of the film where she takes a stand to take control of her own life, she is rendered powerless by the male lead character, and later on when she tries to leave her husband for him, she is rejected yet again, reminded that a man will always decide for her. The other women in the film are either portrayed as entertainment or are manhandled and disposed of at the discretion of men. Looking forward, Sharon Smith states that I hope by now it is obvious that women must be shown in a much wider variety of roles. Their characterizations must have heroism and human dignity expressed in fields besides homemaking, loving a man, and bearing children. Women must be shown as active, not passive. Strong women shouldn't constantly face ridicule and unhappy endings. This highlights the need for feminist films, in order for one problematic dehumanizing representation to not dominate in defining women and their experiences. In calling for counter-cinema, Claire Johnston states that, quite clearly, a strategic use of the media, and film in particular, is essential for disseminating our ideas. New meanings have to be created by disrupting the fabric of the male bourgeois cinema within the text of the film. This is accomplished by two films that refuse to stereotype women while sufficiently representing them: Wajda and The Innocents. Wajda tells the story of a girl living in Saudi Arabia that works to pay for a bike, despite being told by everyone around her that bikes are not for respectable girls. In the midst of a sexist, patriarchal society in which women are treated as second-class citizens, Wajda trains for a Quran reciting competition and wins, while her mother begins to show signs of questioning the patriarchal ideals that her motivations had always been based on. The Innocents tells the story of Mathilde, a Red Cross doctor who helps to secretly deliver the babies of nuns who were the victims of a violent gang rape at the hands of the Soviet army. The film explores both Mathilde's pressure to balance her professional life with this high-pressure undertaking, which she handles very well as the struggles of the nuns to come to terms with this horrific act based on patriarchal values that dehumanize women. The filmmakers challenged the status quo of filmmaking by the very virtue of making these films that do not conform to problematic stereotypes, and also in the stories they tell, which heed Sharon Smith's call for a greater representation of women in a variety of roles that characterize them as brave, heroic, and having human dignity in a variety of fields, in the public and private spheres. The women in these stories are able to have relationships with men that are based on their character and mutual respect, rather than on their sexual prowess. Their struggles and successes in these films mirror those of the filmmakers making the films. These works are perfect examples of counter-cinema for the stand they take against the dominant paradigm's problematic characterization of women.